Tuesday in Morgantown. Kevin Young, BYU's coach, called it their best team win of the year. And here we go from Provo. K-State sticking with the lavender uniforms. They beat number 13 Arizona in those Tuesday night at home. Now trying to take that surge on the road. Kansas State was 7-11 just 3 weeks ago. Coleman Hawkins, the Illinois transfer, misses from close range. Yegor Demon, the freshman, inside to Keita to get the scoring started.
Now, BYU, that's their game plan tonight. First of all, I think Richie Saunders is going to be guarding Coleman Hawkins, and they tried to go in and take advantage of that size advantage, but Hawkins got to finish through contact down low, and BYU off the miss is going to try to fly up the floor.
Doug McDaniel, the catalyst of this turnaround for K-State, knocks down a triple.
Not a special three-point shooter. He's capable, but you saw him there. He's got range like Hassan on that one.
And BYU starting lineup, Tim, when we were here a month ago and BYU beat Oklahoma State, they switched to this lineup. They have stuck with it ever since, the 10th consecutive game with this five-man combination. Richie Saunders with an answer for the Cougars.
Well, one thing, if you're guarding Saunders, you better not get caught ball watching, and that time David Gasson got turned around inside late on the closeout.
And Keita with the block on Hawkins. It's still K-State ball. Kevin Young has been asking for a little more dog out of Keita over the last few weeks. How about this?
Well, BYU's not known as a great defensive team. They're just okay, but nights when they protect, they can be very effective.
Hawkins coming off one of his worst games of the year. He had really turned it around as well during this 6-game win streak.
BYU in the 2-3 zone.
Into the middle of it with Gasson, their leading scorer. Hawkins gives it right back, and Keita with another rejection. Trevin Knell taking the baseline for two.
BYU, as we say, is cooking early with the defense and the rim protection and then getting out in transition, but that was way too easy. A layup right from the corner all the way to the rim.
Hawkins, too strong, trying to stick with it, and Keita pulls it down. First sellout of the season for BYU. Hard to believe. Great crowd night in, night out. 18,000, getting loud early. Knell with another layup.
And that baseline drive, not protecting the baseline, but then no one rotating over to help out from the weak side.
BYU has scored 7 in a row, and Hawkins draws the foul.
The rim protection is so important, and Keita just doing a great job with the timing and then coming back at the other end. Just K-State not in a great enough stance, and just Keita doing a good job of sealing off Hawkins and protecting the rim.
Well, Keita does look different here in the opening minutes compared to the last few games. Mag trying to cut off Hassan there, and the foul is called. Now, Jerome Tang, he wakes up to one shining moment every morning. It's the alarm on his phone, and now he and his team have a chance to experience it like they did his first year in charge at K-State.
Something tells me, though, he wakes up before his alarm. That he has that type of energy.
Maybe. Hassan, a deadly three-point shooter. The Amarillo assassin ends the 7-0 run.
BYU's going to go to zone on baseline out, so they better make sure they stay tighter to Hassan.
Knell left it short. He's 1 point away from 1,000 in his 6-year career. Max Jones rising. And Keita sucks in another rebound.
Keita is making his presence felt in a lot of ways early. That time on the glass and the great outlet.
Demon. And Hassan comes down with it for K-State. Hawkins left it for Hassan, couldn't let it fly.
K-State's not going to call a lot of plays. They're just going to read and react. They're going to space the floor and look for their different mismatches.
Under 10 to shoot. McDaniel. Now Hassan from deep. And he swirls it in to tie it up.
A good inside-out play, and that's where Hawkins can be very effective, not only as a guy that scores around the basket, but also the facilitator, not only from the top, but from the wing and the baseline.
So K-State beat Arizona Tuesday, going 1 of 19 from 3. They're 3 of 3 from downtown to start tonight. Now, in and out. That close to 1,000. Kansas State, Jerome Tang told us earlier today, they've simplified the offense the last few weeks. Like you said, Tim, they don't run as many sets as they did early in the season. McDaniel thought he was fouled, no whistle. Demon on the attack, and he throws it down.
Well, McDaniel, instead of looking for the foul call, he needs to get back on defense, as K-State at times already tonight not sprinting back and getting organized defensively and matching up.
Austin from 2-point range off target. Demon the outlet. Saunders. Kansas State has beaten 4 ranked teams during this 6-game win streak. Jones. Gasson chases down the offensive rebound. Hawkins draws the foul. And that sends us to our first official timeout in this matchup between bubble teams.
Found out what they were doing wrong. They got the point guard on the right page, on the correct level as far as what they needed to do. And the point guard, as we know, and we've seen Jerome Tang now in his 3rd season, is so important in his system. It's important in every system in college basketball, but in the way he plays, he gives his point guard a lot of freedom. And McDaniel now feels more comfortable running this show.
And Coleman Hawkins, who's at the line here, Tim, is also more comfortable. Tang said he had a talk with Hawkins a few weeks ago. He said, listen, I know you want to show off the wide array of skills that you have at your size. We need you to score.
Well, that's the only way they're going to get doubled, and that's what they want him to do. They want him to go down in the post, and if they do double him down there, he will absolutely always find the open man.
1-point lead for BYU. Dawson Baker has checked in for the Cougars. Lob it in, Keita, foul. Well, Kevin Young on the other side, year 1 at BYU, spent the last 8 years in the NBA. Told us today he was subconsciously waiting around for the All-Star break, which is this weekend, of course, in the NBA, but that doesn't exist in college. And so this month he has lightened the workload at practice, and he feels like that's keeping his team fresh.
Well, it's also, it doesn't happen in the Big 12. There's no buys in the Big 12. They get the 20 games, and they start the season right around New Year's, and they've got to get them all in. So it's a roadmap right now of tough nights and long travel. You've got to know how to manage it. You've got to be smart about it, and I think Kevin's learning how to do that. And you see his team, they played well at West Virginia last week.
Keita got his own miss, and he tips it home. Keita giving BYU big minutes here early on.
Huge minutes. I mean, he's just dominant defensively, but also on the glass offensively, taking the ball to the rim.
Now a steal. Dallin Hall the other way. Hall and Demon on the floor together for BYU. A couple of stud playmakers, along with their leading scorer, Saunders, in the backcourt. And Hall lost it, tipped away. It'll stay with the Cougars.
You can just see it, though, Ted, in K-State's eyes. You know, they're not intimidated coming into this building. They're just a confident bunch. You know, it starts with Hawkins, though. Just when you have a great player like that, you can run everything through him. You know he'll find a way to make plays out there for you when in need.
Keita taking a seat. Yeseni Traore in. Baker a swish. Dawson Baker knocks it down.
Now, Dawson Baker coming off that little pin down. He's 6'5". He's got some size over Hassan, but you've got to get closer to him. He can knock things in and get hot quickly.
Hawkins against the smaller Dallin Hall. 8 on the timer. Here comes the double. Hawkins in trouble. And it's a steal for BYU. Demon with numbers. Saunders finishes.
Coleman Hawkins got caught down on the baseline. He was looking for a passing opportunity, but his teammates kind of froze on the perimeter. Nobody stepped into a passing lane where he could find someone on the perimeter. That time McDaniel bails him out.
Doug McDaniel ends the 8-0 run by BYU. Dimon, the freshman phenom, projected lottery pick. Out to Saunders for the triple.
Right now, BYU is clicking on offense because they're just spacing the court and waiting for K-State to make a little bit of a mistake, and then they're finding the open man.
Austin misfires, and Demon grabs it for BYU. Cougars have made their last 4 shots. Saunders wants another. Oh, flying in Hall, couldn't hit. Traore with the putback. And a timeout for Kansas State. BYU doubling up the Wildcats. There are weapons all over.
There is, and you know, you look at BYU and they're really starting to find themselves, and I think it's the 2 freshmen have stepped up. I mean, Diego Demon, we all knew that all the talent he has, but he's a freshman, and it takes, you know, going through the rigors of this conference, there's a lot that goes with it. Cannon Catchings as well, just starting to feel good about themselves, and that's a bad sign for the opponents moving forward, because you can see this team is developing right in front of our eyes down the stretch.
So Demon and Saunders, who have been instrumental so far for BYU, on the bench. You mentioned Catchings, the other freshman star, settled into a role coming off the bench over the last few weeks. He's in there now, number 6 in white. Under 10 to shoot for Kansas State. C.J. Jones. Max Jones hanging and out of bounds. Head the other way.
Well, BYU, their defense is not their forte. That's not what they hang their hat on. But obviously, in order to run, you've got to get stops. And that's what they're doing tonight. They're doing a very good job of collapsing on ball penetration and protecting the rim.
Yeah, you're not going to confuse BYU for a defensive juggernaut, but they have made strides there over the last month or so. Case in point, Tuesday against West Virginia, especially down the stretch. Under 10 for Hall, a little bit of space. Traore blocked at the rim, but the whistle blows. Ugana Onyenso challenging the shot. And Onyenso picks up his first.
One thing that BYU does very well on the offensive end, Ted, is when the ball does come into the gaps, or they do feel the help a little bit, they have great sense of reading the defense, and not only with the ball, but without the ball. The other 4 players do a nice job of sliding into open areas.
How do you develop that as a coach?
Well, first and foremost, you've got to recruit smart basketball players, guys that have a good feel for the game, and then obviously you got to coach it every day. It starts with 2-on-2, 3-on-3, 4-on-4, film watching, development, improvement during the season, practice, but you've got to recruit guys that have a good feel.
C.J. Jones, the floater, short. Baker, the footwork. Traore's in too deep and fouled on the floor. It goes against C.J. Jones.
Well, one thing K-State is having a problem doing is keeping their men in front of them. Too many guys are dribble driving into the gap, which really gets your defense all turned upside down, and BYU will take advantage.
BYU on a 15-2 run. Traore doubled. And the pass intercepted by Doug McDaniel. And McDaniel uses the left to finish.
Excuse me, Ted, that's Doug McDaniel at his best over the last month or so. Just doing a great job on the defensive end of the floor. Much improved defensively.
pivotal game tonight here in Provo. Kansas State has played their way onto the bubble among Joe Lunardi's next 4 out. Catchings misses the 3. BYU, one of the last 4 teams in the field, right now projected to go to Dayton to play in the first 4. Gasson. Oh, missed everything there. K-State's leading scorer hasn't scored yet tonight. Mihailo Bošković gave BYU such a lift Tuesday in the win over West Virginia. Had the 3-point play that sealed it. Now Hall. Traore, soft touch as usual for the big man.
Well, Jeff Van Gundy famously used to say the NBA is a make or miss league, but college basketball, Ted, is whoever gets the best shots. And right now, BYU absolutely is getting the best shots almost on every possession.
K-State shooting just 28% as a team. C.J. Jones gets that to go.
Good job by Jones. They need some help from guys off the bench. Jones, both Jones, Max Jones as well. They can make things happen. They need to give McDaniel and company some help.
C.J. Jones coming off maybe his best game of the season. 10 points in the win over Arizona. Hall able to save it. Oh, Hall had a step there on McDaniel. Instead the kick. Baker missed the 3, but a foul called. And it's on C.J. Jones. He's incredulous, so number 2 on C.J. Jones.
Sometimes you just nick the elbow and you don't think you did anything, but Edwin Young was standing right there, so he was on top of it.
And 3 free throws for Dawson Baker. Just a 69% foul shooter. Surprising how well he shoots the 3. It is a small sample size, now 18 of 27 at the line this year. Baker, the transfer from UC Irvine. It's his first full year on the court, second year in the program. Played just 4 games last year with a foot injury that required 2 surgeries. And playing a little more already here tonight, as you see Halson back on the floor for Kansas State. Baker played only 6 minutes in the win over West Virginia, and Kevin Young said earlier today, Tim, I feel like he was overthinking it. He has to play.
Well, the thing about BYU, like most coaches at this time of year, they try to shrink their lineup and their rotation a little bit, but BYU, they've got a deep team, and you've got to use your guys and use them smartly, and I think Kevin Young's got a nice rotation, has a good feel of what he wants to do. Now, what happens during the game can change his thoughts on the lineups he puts in, and he was telling us today he's got different lineups accordingly to where the mismatches and the matchups favored BYU.
There's a lane violation on David Gasson. That allowed Baker to have another crack at it there, and Baker hit it, and he takes a seat. So a 14-point lead for BYU, their biggest here in the first half. Coleman Hawkins back in. Hawkins against Bošković. Now Max Jones turning the corner on Catchings, and he lays it home.
Well, that's what Jerome Tank said. Max Jones doesn't need any plays run from him, and they don't run any plays for him, but he just makes plays out on the court on both ends. He's a glue guy.
Started his career at Division II University of Tampa, and now in the Big 12, Max Jones. Dem in the lob, Keita. Keeping with the play, Keita, what a first half he's put together.
Good post up, but Jaeger Demon made that play because he recognized the mismatch down low. Perfect delivery from out on the wing.
And Tim, they worked on that lob so often earlier today at shoot-around to counteract what Kansas State has inside. Saw it right there. C.J. Jones against Keita. He muscles it in.
Good job by Kansas State now. The last couple possessions, just taking their time, spacing the floor, and then just being aggressive with the drive to the rim.
Another lob. Keita Loose ball. Out to Catchings. Bošković late in the shot clock. Doesn't drop.
Good D by K-State, because BYU did a nice job of spacing it and finding the open man, but K-State did not relent.
Hawkins couldn't hit. Offensive board, Gasson. Oh, nice behind the back, Hassan, but a turnover. Keita takes it away. Demon already has 5 assists. Nell saves it. Gasson comes away with it for Kansas State. And Demon reaches in to prevent the easy bucket. Timeout. Two teams hoping to strengthen their resume tonight in Provo.
Bring on the hoops. It's just a brutal league. And give Alabama credit. They were dead in the water. They came back and made it a game. They actually tied the game. But Auburn has so many answers. They're #1 in the country in offensive efficiency. And they showed why today, going in on the road and just showing they are the #1 team. And to pick against them, I think it'd be hard to do that. But sign up for Duke Auburn right now in the 2 of the Final Fours.
Cooper Flagg, Janai Broom. National Player of the Year candidates. Love to see that down the road. Here in Provo, BYU jumping out in front at home as K-State coming in with that 6-game win streak, the hottest team in the nation. Yegor Demon of BYU picked up his 2nd personal before the timeout. Tim, he remains out there as we return to play. Get the Janney King out there, wipe the floor, and we're good to go.
And again, BYU will play that aggressive 2-3 on the baseline out.
Hawkins inside to Gasson against Keita. Saunders the deflection. McDaniel has to reset, 10 to shoot. Gasson tries his hand at a 3, in and out. Would have been just his 7th three-pointer of the season. Saunders on the move, lost it out of bounds.
When K-State plays against that 2-3 zone, I like that they're putting Hawkins in the middle, which is a smart move because he's such a terrific passer, but they're laying off him from there. If they're going to lay off him again, I think he should just put his head down, try to get to the rim, see if he can draw the defenders, and then find the open man on the perimeter.
McDaniel with Mawut Mag at 6'7", chasing him around. And Keita with another rebound. Demon got the step. Nell for 3. And a foul inside. Mag was battling for it.
They got McDaniel in there with amongst the trees with something. How you found him with a foul on that one, but BYU is doing a good job of moving the ball. K-State's just got to finish the play on the glass.
And Saunders too strong. Yeah, so McDaniel picked up his first there for K-State. Paulson, quick trigger. Offensive rebound, Gasson. Max Jones swallowed up by Keita. His 3rd block of the half.
K-State's got to adjust to that, though. They've got to use their ball fakes, use their pump fakes, see if they can get him up in the air. He is being very aggressive, trying to block everything.
We've been stuck on 32-20 for a while, about 3 minutes now. Both teams in a drought. Saunders looking for a cutting Mag, a little miscommunication, and another BYU turnover.
Well, the thing we've noticed so far is that K-State, sometimes when you play a team like BYU, especially in this building, it takes a while to adjust to that pace and the quickness that they have moving the ball on the perimeter, the ability to push the pace in transition and find the open man on the three-point line. But K-State's doing a good job, a much better job, getting back on defense, number one, getting organized, matching up, and then in the half court, better job containing the ball, not letting it get into the gaps.
Now they're starting to force a few turnovers. Moby Ike-Garuke gave Kansas State such a boost Tuesday night against Arizona, has checked in. Hawkins. Baker on the drive. And heading the other way, an offensive foul.
Good call. He extended the arm on the perimeter just to get an advantage. You can pass on this call a little bit, but then if you do that, if you take an advantage, and Austin did a good job of selling it.
So 4 turnovers for BYU in the last 4 minutes. Neither team has scored in the last 3.5.
This is where K-State's got to try to take advantage. Run some stuff through Hawkins, see if they can free up their guards on the perimeter.
Instead, it's McDaniel trying to create, and Saunders pulls it in.
Not the possession they're looking for. No pass possession.
Hall fires. Baker the rebound, but a foul. So Baker with another personal. Came up with it. Of course, the crowd doesn't like it here in Provo. Timeout.
Jinxed ourselves. Providence great as well, and had his number retired today into the rafters. So he had quite a weekend as well, but well-deserved Billy D with 2 national championships.
Your dad won a D3 national championship back in 1981, 2-time National Coach of the Year at SUNY Potsdam. Impeccable resume.
Well, thank you. It's brought back a lot of great memories just having his name up there yesterday, and a lot of great friends and ex-players have reached out.
Late in the shot clock, Traore challenging Max Jones, and Saunders rips it away. The crowd wanted a foul on the contact there.
I wonder if fouls have ever gone like 20-0. That's what the BYU students think.
Finally!
They never foul, and K-State fouls on every possession, which is a great home court advantage.
Tim, finally somebody scored. It's the first points in this game in over 5 minutes of action.
Well, the defense has been good, and there's a really good defensive play by Saunders.
Hall again, fouled by Max Jones.
It shows a lot that Kevin Young trusts Richie Saunders to guard a guy like Coleman Hawkins, and he's doing a really good job. He's denying him. He's not letting him get good low post position, and then when he does catch the ball, he's getting down in the stance and making him put the ball on the deck and harassing him.
Kevin Young wants the officials to take a closer look at this as he was motioning to the official, hey, Dallin Hall got an elbow right to the side there, but a common foul, that's the call.
We do have Darren White over at the table.
Yeah, and Darren White's right in front of us. He just asked the members here at the scores table, do you want me to look at this or not? Now, they might be not looking at the foul. They might be looking at the shot clock situation here. But Kevin Young clearly thought there was a lot more contact there.
Well, the players are ready to play. They're all lined up and getting organized, but they're being called over. And we'll see what this is.
All right, let's see what they're looking at. So the shot clock, I don't think ever reset until much later after Hall came away with it there.
Right, so obviously he was fouled way before the shot clock would have expired, so it'll reset on the foul anyway, so it doesn't, not really an issue.
So they adjust it. So BYU ball, 27 on the shot clock. Baker. Offensive board for Mag. In the lane this time. Baker way short. Traore blocked by Gasson, but a foul.
Well, we know K-State's had some issues in conference on the glass, and they're having some issues tonight as well. And -3 on in the Big 12 on the glass, but their guards have to do better, much better job. Their guards have to dig in a little bit. You know, they're undersized on the perimeter against BYU, but Traore, he's going to knock you around in there. He needs another body to try to move him off his spot.
And Traore is the best foul shooter on the team at 82%. Trey Stewart checking in. A fan favorite here at BYU. The Cougars do not beat West Virginia Tuesday night without Stewart, who had 8 points in 6 minutes. And even in those 6 minutes, played great defense on Javon Small.
Yeah, he's going to be out there for the last 2 1/4 just to give him a little taste, so if he needs him in the second half. But you see his aggressiveness on the ball. He's going to be right in Hassan's grill.
Kevin Young says that Stewart plays defense like his hair is on fire. Try to stick with Hassan. Way short. Rebound, Ike Garuke. Got it out to Max Jones. Backing down Hall. And it's a travel.
Well, BYU, if you just landed on earth and watched them play tonight, you say, wow, this is a terrific defensive team, because they are getting after K-State and they have them totally out of rhythm. K-State's not moving the ball like they have been in the 6-game winning streak. They're not spacing, and a lot of dribbling.
You saw what Trey Stewart was able to put together after barely scoring at all over the course of the season. Saunders rising. Stewart the offensive rebound. And Saunders to the rack. Richie Saunders is a live wire.
Well, it started with Stewart, though. Great job on the glass, and the ability and the sense not to try to force things back up on the rim, but to turn, look outside, and go to Saunders, who found an angle easily right to the rim.
K-State desperately needs a bucket. Their largest deficit. Hassan, short. Gasson. Around Traore. And David Gasson, Kansas State's leading scorer on the season, has his first points.
Good job by Gasson, just staying with the play. He didn't have anything on his first move, but he found a little space in the middle of the lane.
Final minute of the first half. Saunders. Oh, way off the mark.
Was feeling that. He wanted it. That was a good play they ran. He just never got his feet set.
Heading the other way.
Well, Trey Stewart does a really good job on the glass. Then pitches it back out to Saunders, and before K-State could reorganize, it was easy money to the rim for Richie Saunders.
So a timeout with 37.9 remaining. Yeah, Saunders, the top scorer on a BYU team that has 2 draft picks in Yegor Demon and Cannon Catchings. Known as really just a slasher the last couple of years. His role has expanded this year under Kevin Young. Shooting it just off the charts this season, and especially in Big 12 play. And a big reason why BYU is in position to be a tournament team again.
Well, they are. And if you watch them, you say they are a tournament team, and they certainly have a lot of good quality wins. And I think they're going to be there because they're getting better. You know, you watch them, they're on a... Everybody's talking about K-State with 6 wins, and rightfully so. You know, their wins are great. The Iowa State, the Arizona State, Arizona, Kansas, tremendous wins. But BYU has been very consistent all year long, but they haven't flatlined. You know they've got an uptick in them because of Demon, because of Catchings, and just everyone playing together. And let's face it, Kevin Young's his first year as a coach, so they're getting used to what he wants as well.
And Tim, we saw the resume there. The one knock on it is the non-conference schedule, one of the softest in the country, but they're able to pile up resume-boosting wins in this league. Demon back on the floor, final 20 seconds of the half. Hall to Traore for the flush. Beautiful execution. Shot clock is dark for Doug McDaniel. The heave, way short from Max Jones, and BYU takes an 18-point lead to the locker room.
On the defensive end of the floor, clogging up the middle, protecting the rim, defending, rebounding, outletting the ball.
Cato was on the floor for 10 of those 20 minutes in the first half. Of course, starting the second half, BYU by 18. They shot 48% in the first half. They opened with a turnover. And Max Jones draws the foul. And they're going to call that on the floor before the shot. Of course, K-State would love to say, yeah, goaltending there. But I believe they're calling it on the floor before Max Jones put it up.
Just a loose pass by Denham. I mean, he's got to make this pass to the opposite corner, and Kevin Young saw it, but I think that is a correct call. He got fouled twice, but the first foul was on the floor.
So K-State inbounds. Boy, Hawkins had a tough first half. McDaniel led K-State with 7. So crafty. Everybody says it, Tim, but it's so true the way Doug McDaniel can score.
Well, it's been few and far between, though, the opportunities he's had, and that was a good one. He took advantage of it where the defense was shifted to the other side of the floor, gave him a one-on-one opportunity.
Saunders had 10 in the first half for BYU. Against Gasson. Looking for an outlet. 4 to shoot. Demon's gonna have to put it up. And a second chance for BYU. Saunders misses.
It was good defense, though, by K-State. They're down in the stance now. They know that a little bit sense of urgency coming out of the locker room that they've got to defend or go home.
McDaniel drains a 3. So the first 5 for K-State out of the locker room for McDaniel. And Saunders missed it yet again.
Well, K-State did win 6 in a row for nothing. They have a good basketball team, but a little loose with that pass.
Demon couldn't quite save it there. Back to McDaniel.
Well, McDaniel, again, we said it. He saw the mismatch. He had Mag on him, but shook him a little bit, and then he can do that. That's not normally the type of shot he looks for, but he can knock it down.
Yeah, I mean, he is the engine for Kansas State. The numbers during the losing streak followed by the numbers during the winning streak. Remember, he didn't start in non-conference play, benched twice in that span. And as he has come on, the team has come on as well.
Well, he's been a better defender, too, a much better defender. And when you have such great skill offensively, sometimes you forget about the other end of the floor. But Jerome Tang was not going to let that happen because he knows in this league, absolutely, you cannot have a weak link at the point defensively.
The turning point was the loss to Texas Tech last month when McDaniel was not on the floor down the stretch in a close game. Jerome Tang lit into him the next day, said, I have to hide you on defense. You have to be better. And Doug McDaniel has since then. Turnover here. Moet Mag in transition. And Mag does it himself.
That's like when the doors close, you push your way through, and there's nothing there. K-State was back, but Mag just lowered his shoulder, found a way to get to the rim.
Now Mag trying to keep up with McDaniel, who lost it off his leg, out of bounds, a turnover.
Jerome Tang's going to take McDaniel out just for a minute, just to talk to him. And I like this move because McDaniel, he's doing the right thing. He's got the right motive. You know, he's trying to get his team back in the game, but he's got to make sure he does it with his teammates.
And Tim, it's no secret, there was friction between McDaniel and Tang early in the season. That relationship has improved as McDaniel has improved on the court. Loose ball, Max Jones. Out of bounds, still BYU ball.
Well, that's a good way to improve any relationship. Do what the coach asks you to do, and
Okay.
then he starts liking you better, and then everything starts to smooth out. And Jerome Tang is a point guard coach. We've seen that with all of his teams in his tenure at K-State, and McDaniel is certainly an excellent player.
And for what it's worth, Tang did admit he was wrong in not starting McDaniel early in the season. Said that earlier today. I was trying to be tough on him, wanted him to earn it. Demon, 5 to shoot. Saunders against the taller Hawkins. And a foul called with under a second on the timer. Hawkins picks up his first.
Well, K-State clearly has played better defense this half. It's only been about not even 3 minutes yet, but they're down in a stance. They seem to be rotating better, more active. A little bit of a careless foul giveaway on that one.
So Saunders at the line. Tim, he's always in motion, seemingly. Story from last year. BYU's on the road. They're at the team hotel, getting ready to go to the arena for shoot-around. And Saunders comes down just a touch early. He says, when are we leaving? In 5 minutes, Richie. He says, I'm going for a swim. And sure enough, he goes to the hotel pool, jumps in for about 3 minutes, and he comes back fully dry and ready to get on the bus.
Well, you're a young player watching. I take clips of him on how to play without the basketball. That's kind of a lost art out there, but you see how hard he is to defend because of the way he does move on the court and reads the defense.
Now tapped it out of bounds, still belongs to Kansas State. Yeah, Saunders is just a blast to watch.
Lester, the other team, it's not so
Yeah,
fun.
no doubt.
But he's
No doubt.
doing a good job defensively tonight on Hawkins as well.
Not fun to play against, not fun to guard. Max Jones trying to create against Dallin Hall. And Keita vacuums in the rebound.
It's a good move by Jones. He's found an angle, he just couldn't knock it in.
Keita on the roll. And the hammer from Keita.
Well, that's a good play call from the bench. They had the spacing on both sides of the floor, and it's just like 2-on-2 in your driveway. If you don't guard that correctly, that's what happens because there's a lot of room to operate in the lane.
C.J. Jones offline. Keita another board. His 10th to go with 9 points. Dallin Hall launching. He got it. It's a 3. Can K-State break a 9-0 run? McDaniel does it off glass.
Well, good job by Jerome Tang. You know, he took him out for a couple minutes, calmed him down a little bit, gave him a couple words, and then put him right back in.
Now Saunders taking on contact. Couldn't finish. Got it back. Hall. Not this time. Jones. Oh, erased by Keita. A career-high 4 blocks for Keita.
Some guys like to talk, some guys like to T. T&T. Talk or tech.
Yeah.
I think he earned that one. It was good. Probably wanted it.
Now Nell commits the foul on Brendan Hawson. Nell's 3rd.
Well, that's what Jerome was talking about, basically, and he was upset about. He feels like BYU is being a little physical, not only on the ball, but off the ball and at the rim as well. And, of course, again, the BYU students, they never foul here.
What a surprise. That reaction is they got to look at the board here in-house. McDaniel missed the 3.
Well, BYU's done a good job defensively, you know, being physical. You have to be physical. If you're not physical in this conference, you're not going to survive. And they have done a good job tonight of being physical defensively in half court.
Off the steal. Hawkins the kick. Hawson fouled beyond the arc. Now Saunders trying to challenge it. His second, and Hawson will have 3 free throws.
That's Saunders going 100 miles an hour on defense like he does on offense, and just a little out of control on the contest, worried about one of the best long-distance shooters in the league.
And also an excellent free throw shooter, 82%. Then from Amarillo, Texas, the Villanova transfer, and maybe he has a new nickname after what happened last week, the game against Arizona State. Shout out to Pete Sousa, a good buddy, colleague. Yes, Pete called Brendan Hawson the Armadillo Assassin all game. Not the Amarillo Assassin, which is actually his nickname. But the cool thing is, K-State fans, Hawson himself, Tim, they've all embraced it.
Why not? Sell some shirts, some NIL money, get it all working. That's the beauty of today's world, that these guys can benefit from that and run with it.
Bring the armadillo stuffed animals to games, make the t-shirts. I've seen K-State fans
hopefully
take to AI to create images.
Hopefully Pete gets a little cut of that, something.
Should be able to strike a deal with Brendan on that.
A free meal in Manhattan.
BYU turns it over. Yeah, something in Aggieville. So Traore's back for BYU. He had 10 points in the first half. And Gasson back on the floor for Kansas State.
So K-State's defense has been much better this half. Now they just got to get a little bit more action on the offensive end. They have to get Hawkins involved. You see McDaniel, he's trying to be very aggressive, but he needs some help.
Now McDaniel has 14. Hawson, the second leading scorer with 9. Gasson to the rim. So right on cue. Maybe David Gasson can get going.
Good two-man game. And McDaniel, perfect delivery. Read the defense on that little two-man game on the wing.
Gasson's second bucket. Hall against Hawkins. Down low, Traore. And he's fouled. Gasson with his second.
Well, if you guard Traore down low, as Gasson was on that possession, you can't let him catch the ball that close to the basket. I mean, you just let him post up. He had good deep position, and then it's on. It's one-on-one. It's just a drop step over the top, and you have to panic a little bit and hit his arm, but he's got to do his work much earlier, and it's hard to get around Traore. He's so wide. So you've got to use your length and your quickness. Maybe step through and try to front him with your length.
It's like trying to move a fire hydrant when he has position down low like that.
Here comes Stewart in the game, and Kevin Young wants him to take on McDaniel because he sees McDaniel starting to rev up.
And Stewart should be glued to McDaniel while he's on the floor. Hawkins against the much smaller Hall, and Hawkins takes advantage.
Good recognition again by K-State of that mismatch down low, and that's what Jerome Tang wants to do. He wants to get Hawkins down in the box.
All right, so from down 22 to within 15 now. K-State trying to chip away. Hall going reverse side. Oh, off the make. Gasson beating everybody down the floor to break the rim.
Good job by K-State to answer after the make, but problem is you cannot let BYU continue to dribble drive from the three-point line and get all the way to the rim with no resistance or help from the backside.
Hall hesitated. Now Traore in deep. 6 to shoot. Traore wants it back. Somebody's got to put it up. Catchings does. C.J. Jones in transition. And Hawson gets bumped. Savvy move by Hawson. Off the fake against Dawson Baker.
That fake, you're going to have to go for it every time because you want to get up and contest him. And he's such a good shooter. He's a great shooter that you've got to respect that. But defensively on that last possession, K-State again, good job down in their stance, protecting the paint. They did a better job with Traore down in the box too. He got the ball, but it wasn't in his sweet spot.
And Tim, 16 foul against BYU. K-State shooting the rest of the way. Here at the 12:23 mark.
Sometimes you get those technical fouls and it helps, and there's the 7th.
Daniel on the attack.
Sometimes the officials need to be made aware that you're not happy.
Well, got teed up.
And I think I told you this at halftime. I thought Jerome was trying to get a technical in the first half, at the end of the first half. I think he was actually trying to get one. He wanted to make it known that he wasn't happy, and sometimes that's what you need to do as a coach. I don't think he was upset with the tee at all. He wanted to be heard.
McDaniel misses the first. Just a 69% foul shooter. He was much better the last couple of years at Michigan, and here in the second half, of course, he has to deal with the rock. The student section for BYU just beyond the basket.
That was because they wanted to keep a point off the board, or there was some free food attached, Ted, to that second miss. That's what the rumor on the street is.
Instead, McDaniel splits the pair.
I think it was a little of both.
I think the student section is always motivated here. Turnover by BYU. McDaniel over Baker. Loose ball. Max Jones, the hustle for K-State. C.J. Jones. And a foul against BYU on the floor as Ike Garuke came down with the rebound. Kansas State making the slow climb back into
that, but they've got to totally eliminate it.
Sophomore from Galway, Ireland. They're on the west coast of the Emerald Isle. Moby Ike Garuke. Shooting 1-and-1, got one more, has barely been to the line. Man, he has played a lot more over the last couple of weeks. The energy that he gives, his defensive effort, has been unmatched. A rebound by Hawkins after the miss. C.J. Jones, the laner. And it goes in. So Kansas State now within 11.
Well, better spacing also this half for K-State. They have that opportunity to make some one-on-one moves because they have the floor space on the perimeter, which allows good penetration and gaps to find angles to have mid-range shots go in.
Now a little quiet at the sold-out Marriott Center. A 13-3 run by the Wildcats. 11 to play. Baker, the turnaround. And Ike Garuke soaring for the rebound. Chance to cut it to single digits.
K-State's smelling a little blood here. They're starting to have a rhythm and offense.
C.J. Jones, the floater, and a foul. Lead down to 9.
K-State has done a better job, we said in the last possession, of just being able to go one-on-one because they have the floor spaced. And BYU is a little flat-footed right now on the defensive end of the floor. They're letting K-State get where they want to get to off the bounce.
Jones, the junior from East St. Louis, originally signed with Missouri out of high school, decommitted with the coaching change, ended up at UIC before transferring to K-State this year. And the deficit is down to 8. BYU led by 22 at the 16-minute mark. Demon is fouled by Max Jones. His second.
Well, you don't have to play Demon that tight, but you know, Jerome Tang doesn't mind that. He wants to keep the pressure on BYU out on the perimeter because a little bit back on their heels, they're a little flat-footed on defense, and then on offense, they're not getting that good ball movement because K-State's playing much better defense.
BYU led 40-22 at the break. Bošković. The touch to Saunders. And Saunders scoops it home.
It's just a good read by Saunders. He saw everybody was lifted up on the backside. Now a steal.
Saunders doing it at both ends. Move it to Hall. And Ike Garuke with the rebound. McDaniel backs it out. Hawkins doubled, and he shuffled his feet. A turnover.
That's a good call. He was feeling the double down low instead of looking for the pass, so I think he was trying to drop step to go to score, and he just rushed it. Normally when he feels the double, he does as good a job as anybody is finding the open man, but that time he felt like he had a mismatch and wanted to go to score.
Now 4 turnovers for Coleman Hawkins. Just 3 points on 1 of 7 shooting. He does have 8 rebounds. Saunders trying to find Bošković, tapped out of bounds. Remains with BYU.
Well, that didn't happen in the first half either, K-State. Just deflections, getting their hands up in people. They're in stances now. They're active with their hands, and they're bothering BYU in the half court.
Oh, off the inbound. Dawson Baker getting loose.
Great read by Baker. This man over-anticipated the play, thought he was going on the outside to receive a little screen. Instead, he went backdoor.
BYU has pushed the lead back to a dozen. McDaniel. Baker up the floor. Demon didn't pull the trigger. Bošković does. Oh, a lot of contact, no whistle. Hall on the drive. Blocked by Hawkins, but a foul.
And that's what happens when the floor is spaced properly, and BYU does a good job of that. As they always have their shooters spaced out on ball side into the corner, so you can't help, and then it puts a lot of pressure on the defender. You've got to just lock down one-on-one because you're not going to receive a lot of help because they've got shooters all spaced around the perimeter.
Dallin Hall, a starter a year ago, settled into his role off the bench, leading that second unit. Coaches have been on him to be more assertive, Tim. Kevin Young said it earlier today. He's just so strong at his size. Young has told him, hey, whenever you're pressured, just dribble through them.
Well, there's a great example on that last play. I mean, he had Coleman Hawkins on him, and he just went right at his hip, got that half a step on him, and drew the foul.
Now Hawkins at the offensive end. Hawson lets it go. And still K-State ball.
Job on the contest there. Hawson, you've got to get right up in his numbers on the catch. If he has a half a step, you know he's going to have that clean look, which most of the time will go down.
After K-State cut it to 8, they haven't scored in the last 2.5 minutes. Max Jones over Saunders. Tough finish.
Well, that's what Jerome Tank said. We don't have to run plays for him. He just makes plays on his own. Good reading of the defense, strong finish.
Hall again on the attack, and he draws another foul. I think Dallin Hall got the message. Third personal on Max Jones. Beg your pardon, it's on Gasson, his third.
Dallin Hall, you mentioned, Ted, how strong he is, but he's also sneaky quick. He's got that real good first step, so you combine that with ball handling ability and strength. Tough stop.
Trey Stewart on his way back in. Then the defensive maven, playing spot minutes in a bigger role than he did earlier in the season. He'll take the place of Hall. So Dallin Hall giving BYU a spark just as K-State started its comeback. BYU on a mini 7-2 run. Hawson, no.
They're probably a little quick. Hawson's getting hungry out there, but he's not open. He's going to find those shots later in the clock.
Stewart for three. Money! Trey with a tray for BYU. Hawkins got past Boshkovich, and the foul is called. Timeout here in Provo.
Now that's the mark of a good player, a program guy who keeps getting better, hangs in there when he doesn't get the minutes, works hard in the offseason, works hard in the gym during the season, and is ready to coming up to Provo and highly respected, not only here, but around the Big 12 and the country. Congratulations.
Hawkins at the line, missing the first. And Tom Holmoe online, probably best known for his incredible Halloween costumes through the years. Whether it was Jafar or something from Coco. Hawkins switches that one.
See, I learned something from you every...
Did you know he did that? You should
know.
Dude, the pictures are extraordinary. He would go all out. He says he loves Halloween as a kid. Goes all out every single year. Hopefully he keeps doing that in retirement. Baker late in the shot clock. Oh, Stewart from deep. Man, this place would have come unglued if he'd hit that. Hawkins aggressive, too short.
Very good. It's a good move by Hawkins, but just did a pretty good job of not letting him get all the way to the rim. He was a little bit off balance as he finished.
Baker got it to drop. Wanted a foul as well. He'll take the bucket.
Well, Dawson Baker does get a lot of things done in a short period of time. He's out there on the floor. He's aggressive, looking for a shot, but he doesn't ever seem to force the issue.
So much at stake tonight here in Provo. Two bubble teams in the Big 12 matching up. Out of bounds. And a foul called. The Kansas State playing its way onto the bubble. They followed a 6-game losing streak with a 6-game winning streak entering tonight. BYU, winners of 5 of the last 7, among the last 4 in. K-State next 4 out. And this game is going to look awfully good on somebody's resume in the final 5:57. BYU trying to take it home. Ike Garuke hitting the first as Hall returns for BYU. It was a defensive drill that helped Moby Ike Garuke earn more of a role in the last month, Tim. We heard it from Jerome Tang earlier today. A 2-on-2, keep the other team out of the paint drill, as Tang called it. And so Tang polled every other player on the team. If you could pick one guy to be your teammate in this drill, who would it be? Almost all of them said Moby Ike Garuke.
Well, they want to pick the best player that'll help them win because there's consequences if you don't. And that's the master class that Jerome Tang puts on every day at practice. You know, you got to find ways to turn this thing around. They have, and it's been more aggressive defensively, although tonight BYU is starting to click again.
Dallin Hall has a dozen off the bench for BYU. And the Cougars have stretched out the lead again. Here's Ike Garuke on the move. Around Hall, he banks it in with a foul. Got some skills at the offensive end as well.
Well, this has been K-State's game plan the entire second half. Space the court, reverse the ball, and then attack the paint. And doing a really good job, not only of finishing some of these plays, but getting to the line. And he was starting to get in a little bit of foul trouble.
Some of the K-State coaches were laughing too with Ike Garuke on the bus as he missed the free throw, and a foul called again on BYU. Yeah, Ike Garuke had his eyes wide open on the bus coming to shoot around today. He had never seen mountains before. You don't see them on the west coast of Ireland.
I've been to Galway a few times, fortunate enough to say that, and you see a lot of golf courses. Yeah. I don't see any pickup hoops over there. Because that's why we were there, to play golf, but he's making the Irish proud.
Gasson misses the first. K-State's had its struggles at the line this year, and they're 9 of 16 here tonight. Missed them both. The Rock making a difference again. Bošković hangs and hits.
That's great footwork by Bošković. Just hung in there. Hawkins was right on his shoulder, but he made the play right at the rim.
Oh, Hawkins right back at you at the other end off the window.
Hawkins needs to be aggressive on every possession. There's not enough time for him to defer.
Can K-State come up with some stops now? Oh, Saunders the blow by. Too strong, but a foul. And it's on Max Jones, his third.
Well, again, that's where BYU is so hard to defend. They do a great job of, it gets some false motion going on the backside of the floor, misdirection, space the court, and then as they reverse it, throw it to a guy like Saunders, and the ability to beat you off the bounce because he has some space, because the floor is spaced properly.
Tim Saunders has posted his first career double-double tonight. 16 points to go with 11 rebounds. That's a career high in boards for Saunders, by the way.
And he's defended Coleman Hawkins very well all night long.
Giving up 5 inches in that matchup. Saunders now with 17. The lead is 18.
Gives up the 5 inches, but, you know, Hawkins is not your prototypical big man because he likes to play on the perimeter. He does this very, very well. He will go inside, and when he does, Hawkins done a pretty good job. Excuse me, Saunders has done a pretty good job on it.
Gasson racing. Oh, Keita got a piece of it. Gasson the last to touch it.
This was a really good move, but then the backside help. Stewart was right there protecting, and good job. Team defense, BYU.
It cannot be understated what Keba Keita has given BYU tonight. The 9 points, 11 rebounds, and a career-high 5 blocks.
He's doing it without fouling, too. He's been physical. His timing has been very good, and he's been terrific on the glass.
Timeout for BYU with just under 4 to play. And we'll step aside. BYU has the finish line in their sights, up 18 in this bubble game. Season. You know, Mark Pope wanted him at Kentucky, and he said it was the hardest call of my life, but he says this is home. Provo is home. Utah is home. He and Sierra have that house in Orem. They remodeled it in the last year, and so he's sticking with BYU.
Well, he made a great decision. Obviously, Mark Pope is doing a great job at Kentucky, and players love playing for him, but Kevin Young has done just a beyond superb job in the first year that he's ever been in college basketball. I mean, he looks like he's been a veteran coach for 20 years. He just has handled every little move correctly this season for BYU.
McDaniel drills a three and a timeout for Jerome Tang with 3.5 to go. So K-State doesn't want to go quietly. BYU led by 18 at the break. They went up 22 at the 16-minute mark. Kansas State surged back, cut it to 8, but BYU landing another haymaker. They pushed the lead back out to 17. Now against the pressure.
Certainly nice to have a guy like Yegor Demon to break a press, 6'9". Those traps really don't affect him because he's so good at getting the ball over at the top, throwing over the top of those traps and finding the open man.
6 on the timer for Hall against Gasson. Boshkovich launches. Saunders the offensive rebound, and BYU can run a little more clock.
The shot clock reset to 30.
Yes, it should have reset to 20. Good catch.
BYU is very good at spacing the court. They're so smart that they're going to run the clock, and if they find an open man, they will take the shot. They're not holding for the entire clock. They're going to look to score, but eat some clock as well.
Saunders had it poked away by Ike Garuke. Hall got to put it up, scoops it, and the shot clock runs out. Hall wanted a foul.
Yeah, he's not getting that foul. I mean, that would have been a bailout. He was out of control a little bit at the end of the clock, but he was trying to make something happen. Good intelligence, but both teams kind of accomplished what they wanted. BYU wanted to run some clock. They did, and K-State needed to stop.
McDaniel, the only Wildcat in double figures with 18. Give him 20.
Daniel certainly had a really good second half. He hasn't forced the issue, and Kevin Young's going to talk it over, make sure they're organized against this pressure.
Kansas State, like we said, playing its way into the conversation for the NCAA tournament. Again, go back 3 weeks, we would not be showing Kansas State's resume. There would be nothing to talk about. But because they had won 6 in a row, yes, it is a legitimate question. Plus the ranked wins during this stretch. And again, right now, Joe Lunardi has K-State among the next 4 out. And we know, Tim, there are going to be some more opportunities down the stretch to continue to build that resume.
Beauty of this conference, that's what it is. When you look at this conference, say compared to the ACC, and the ACC's having a down year, so you might be able to string off 4 or 5 wins in a row, but if it's against the bottom part of the league, it's not helping you. But this league has so many top-heavy teams from top to bottom. Really, there's not much at the bottom, but most nights you're going to play against a quality team, so those wins are going to be there to be had for K-State and BYU.
Again, BYU able to move it across against the pressure. Hall gives it up. Boshkovich fumbled it. 3 to shoot for Baker. Hall, an offensive board.
C.J. Jones was just out on the perimeter. He's got to get himself back involved to rebound.
And Saunders walked. You know, looking at K-State's upcoming schedule, Tim, like you said, there's nothing easy in the Big 12, but Kansas State's going to face a lot of the teams that are under 500 in the league coming up, whether it's at Utah Monday, Arizona State next weekend. You see the rest of the schedule here. Maybe not games that will be quad 1 wins as McDaniel scoops it in. He's got 22. But you start to pile these up, and Kansas State can get back above 500 in the league down the stretch. They're going to remain in that conversation.
Well, they are, as long as they win. They've got to win those games. Those become almost must-wins, because
Yes.
if they're at the teams that are not in the mix, so to speak, then obviously a little more pressure on you. But I don't think they're worried about that. They got through the tough part where they turned it around, where they're confident now. And that's, you know, we asked Jerome Tang a little bit about how it happened. He said, well, I can't really tell you because that'll give away our secrets. But there's no secrets.
Yeah.
There really isn't. And it's not just Doug McDaniel got on the same page with Jerome Tang. That's part of it, okay? But it's the coaches and the players continuing to work, the players believing in the coach, and the players also believing in each other, that they do have talent, and that's to come, you know, within the room. Within the room, everybody, coaches, players, and trust me, more today than ever before in basketball and in sports is the outside world buzz. You know, the social media stuff. You can tell your players all you want to stay off whatever they want to stay off, but they're going to look at it because they're 18, 19, 20-year-olds. They don't have the discipline to stay off social media, which is okay. But then you have to combat that as a coach to give them confidence. Don't listen to this stuff. Believe in yourself, believe in your team, because we do have talent and we can get this done, and they have.
They've shown the nation what they're capable of in the last 3 weeks. Sometimes it just takes time, especially in today's era. 10 newcomers on this team. Hall's fouled with 1:28 to go. And Tang has said it, I knew it would take time. I wish it didn't take this long for everything to gel. But that's just how this team finally came together.
Well, you never know when you start the journey, especially in today's world, as you just mentioned, Ted, with so many new faces in every program. You know, BYU has some new faces, a lot of the same faces, but they have a new coach. You know, Jerome Tang's been there. He knows what he wants to do, but a lot of new faces. So every year is different. You don't know how these new faces will gel, or if they ever will gel.
And how about Richie Saunders again, giving up his body. And Kevin Young calls timeout.
This is what you call jumping in the pool, coming out of the pool, being bone dry, got a quick swim in,
Yep.
and I'm ready to play tonight.
Richie Saunders has earned some time in the pool after this game. 17 points and 13 rebounds, a career high. Again, his first career double-double for the 6'5" guard. Let's look at BYU's upcoming road, and you see quite a few more ranked teams. Tuesday night on ESPN, the first time that Kansas has visited Provo since 1960. That's the next opportunity on the schedule.
Well, Kansas, we know, obviously, their potential. You know, they're going through a little bit of the same thing with new players, too. I mean, some nights Bill Self's guys that he picked up in the portal are outstanding. Some nights they're inconsistent. So they're still trying to find their consistency at the level that they're used to being at. And certainly they can reach that level. Everyone knows, obviously, you've got a Hall of Fame coach and the tradition of the program, but they've got talent. And Dickinson in the middle, and we all know the names. But they face it going on the road in this league, and they've been playing better. They didn't win it. They got knocked off at Kansas State, but other than that game, they've been much more consistent in the last month as well.
By the way, update from just up north. Kansas trails Utah 39-37 at the half on ESPN. You saw Utah earlier this week.
Utah's got talent. Utah's is very close. They rarely get blown out of the building. They had troubles at Houston, but who hasn't? But other than that, they've got a lot of guys that can score. They're long. They're very good offensively.
Hall gets fouled by McDaniel with 1:08 to play. So Dallin Hall will shoot 1 and 1. He's 3 of 5 at the stripe tonight. You know, and BYU didn't start quite as poorly as K-State did, 1 and 6. But remember, BYU got off to a 1 and 3 start in conference play. 6 and 3 since. Close this one out, make it 7 of the last 10. And Kevin Young said it earlier today, Tim, how his team has learned how to finish games. He's learned how to coach in close games in the Big 12.
Well, he's also learned how to use his lineup. When you have 11 guys that you have the ability to play, that you trust can play, that means a lot of different lineups depending on the night, depending on the matchups. And that's always a challenge, especially his first year as a coach.
Hawson nails the 3 and a timeout for K-State with a minute to go. Well, earlier today, the NCAA Tournament Selection Committee had its bracket reveal 4 weeks from Selection Sunday, and no surprise, the SEC dominating this, Tim. 3 of the top 4 seeds coming from the SEC, which of course is having a historic year. Auburn, the #1 overall seed. They beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa today in that matchup of 1 versus 2. From a Big 12 perspective, Houston, the highest seeded team according to the committee right now, as a #2 seed. Then you have Iowa State and Arizona as 3 seeds. Texas Tech and Kansas are 4 seeds.
Certainly Houston is very deserving to go into Tucson today and beat Arizona, who's coming off a loss to K-State. So very impressive. And Kelvin Sampson's team has the look this year. They absolutely have the look. They've got answers all over the court. They can beat you in transition. They can beat you in the paint. We always know that they can beat you on defense. And now they've got shooters around the perimeter. And so the thing about them is they have multiple identities, and they can play a lot of different styles. They can play fast, and they can play the physical game as well.
They ground out a win at Arizona earlier today. Their 11th consecutive road win. 60 seconds left here. BYU by 12. Paul had it knocked out of his hand. Still BYU ball.
Both teams have exhausted their timeouts. I like that, Jerome Tang, using every last effort to try to win this game. I mean, one thing that annoys the heck out of me is these coaches that go home with it, a timeout in their pocket, and they give up. And you don't see that in this league, but I have seen it around the country this year where, all right, we're down 8 with 50 seconds to go. Let's go shake hands and get out of here. But you can see Jerome Tang's team is still fighting, forcing a turnover.
And they're back on the court in 48 hours at Utah Monday night. They would love to start a new winning streak if they don't somehow pull off a miracle here in the final 50 seconds. All right, so a stoppage after the stoppage following the BYU turnover.
Not sure what they're looking at now. Clock or something. Jerome asked them to look at something so he can get another timeout, which is another good coaching move.
Yeah.
Not sure the officials have to look at everything every second, but it's their prerogative.
Yeah, they want to make sure that they have the call right, that it's the 10-second violation against BYU. All right, keep an eye on the clock. Boy, just some rough math there. Yeah, I mean, sure looks like it. Looks like it stands. So K-State ball. And they did add a second to the clock. Max Jones all the way to the rim. 10-point game. And Hall is fouled by Hawson. Hawson got his money's worth. No, it's not a technical. Fan wants it.
Well, they want a flagrant or whatever. He made a play on the ball. It was physical. It was aggressive.
And Dallin Hall with a season-high 15 points. He really helped BYU punch right back after Kansas State had cut the lead down to 8 earlier in the second half.
He made a big three. He's been rock solid on defense, but he just it's those extra toughness, winning type plays that don't always show up in the box score.
And now Kansas State turns it over. And that's been a tough night for David Gasson. K-State's leading scorer and rebounder, limited to 6 and 6 here tonight.
So just a solid performance for BYU. Right out of the gate tonight, they held on with a lot of different things, a lot of different ways, but I think it was BYU's defense that won this game. They got down in the stance. They showed a lot of toughness. They're not known for their defense. Obviously, you think of BYU, you think of fast-paced offense, three-point shooting, but it started with their defense.
Whoa! And it ends with a 3 by Yegor Demin.
And let's not forget Keita and his unbelievable defensive play to start the game.
BYU throws up a roadblock on the hottest team in the nation. They put a stop to Kansas State's 6-game winning streak.